more lights on. It doesn't go there. Yes. Oh, I can look at it. Now, oops. When we talk about nature and man, and the topic today is mostly on mind, man's mind and nature. At first, I would like to introduce you a bit more about our relationship with nature. It is understood that man cannot be separated from nature, as we are part of nature. I think all of us probably agree with that. But Professor John Beckett this morning already announced on that very thoroughly. Modern man with his greed, I think we all know this in terms of the present life that we are living. There's no time in the world that we have to be more greedier than what we have right now. And we always acquire wealth at most that we can get. You see? I think this cannot be denied either. And whatever we acquire for our wealth and unlimited greed, we tend to hurt nature. Nature is crying out, but we never heard the noise. So, what happened to man when we separate ourselves from nature? We become alienated to ourselves and to the rest of the world. And the question of alienation started from since the early 19th century by those essentialists started on that when we are the victim of the industrialization, that man cannot live in this world with part of his man character, the world, but we are overcome the world, overcome nature itself. And so the result is we tend to hurt ourselves in terms of physical and mental health, including the natural resource and also environmental. The problem of pollution comes into picture. So, when we talk about nature, what is the meaning of nature? Professor Beckett this morning probably introduced on that already. But the word nature, in this case, we mean that everything in the world which is organized, which is not organized and constructed by man, or nature as they are, things as they are. So, how far can we develop in science anything that we can develop for our human needs, so that we will not disturb the nature itself? Professor Lily De Silva, one of the renowned Buddhist thinkers of Sri Lanka, she wrote a very nice article on the Buddhist attitudes towards nature. If you are interested in, you can take a look at that also. Industrial revolution and exploitation of natural resource. In the last 400 years, mankind consumed natural resources to the quantity of what man has consumed for the last 4,000 years. Fossils, fuels, and forests. Especially in Thailand, we have only 20% of forests left, and even the 20% that we got left, one cannot really do anything about it to protect it for the best. We have always problems with forestry, consumption of those who want to sell food. And in Burma, I think rich natural resources they have, had they gone this far in terms of development, I'm sure that will be gone in a few years. Consumerism has given rise to energy crisis and polluted problems as well. So these are something that we never stopped exploiting nature because we are the slave of our passion. We alienate ourselves and nature. And what happens when we are alienated ourselves from ourselves? Turn out to be the problem of man's physical and mental health. Is in forgetting that man is a part of nature. Man exploits nature and alienated from nature. Diseases such as heart ailment, cancer, diabetes, AIDS are increasing among men. And not only the physical illness, but also mental instability and the rate of suicide among the highly developed nations have increased greatly. When you visit Korea or Japan, you will see some bridges. They say that someone told me that the bridge there used to be red, but red seems to attract people to come and jump over, so they turn out to be black. And under the Fuji mountain, there's a big forest there. And if you go there and you found some cars left for several months, it means that the owner of the car went into the forest and never returned back intentionally. So the suicide rate, and even last time I visited San Francisco, I was disappointed to see so many homeless hanging around the market street. And so I asked, is this the result of civilization? Is this a result of consumerism or industrialization and capitalism? And it's a pity to see the outcome of human race in such a condition. And we can talk about that later on. Besides human nature, besides the nature itself. Now, how can we deal with the present catastrophe? I think that we have to revalue one's life, one choice, and one attitudes toward all things. Let's look at Buddhism. In Buddhism, belief that cross-connected between human morality and natural environment cannot be separated. Man's mind somewhat predict or involved with the environment. How? If mankind is demoralized through greed, famine will be the result. If moral degeneration is due to ignorance, when one are so ignorant, then the epidemic is the result. And when hatred, like that just happened just a few days ago in Orlando, 50 killed just like that. Hatred is the demoralizing force. Widespread of violence is the result. So the minds of man has an effect upon the environment. Greed, hatred, delusion produce pollution within and without. Generosity, compassion, and wisdom produce purity within and without. So this is due to man's mind only. So man's mind and the world are interdependent. Man must reappraise his own value system. Materialism leads to problems. Buddhism teaches that mind is a foreigner of all things. If one can act with impure mind, the mind with greed, hatred, and delusion, suffering is the result. But if one acts with pure mind, the qualities of contentment, compassion, wisdom, happiness will follow. So it all depends on the mind. As we are here, because of our body or because of our mind. So whether the body determined man or man determined by his own mind. Man and pollution. So in relation to the problem that we are having right now, man has to understand that pollution in our environment has been caused because there has been psychological pollution within itself. If man wants clean environment, a lifestyle has to change. Moral, spiritual dimension has to replace the old one. In other words, nature cries out loud, and if you never listen to it, we are just a small ant who cannot live any longer. So we have to change ourselves. We have to have a new way of thinking. The one who will help to create such a thinking is some group of people like us that nobody ever realize what they've been doing to the world around them anymore. Because of their greediness, their wanting more and more and never stop. A simple moderate lifestyle, how can we change into that? So, satisfaction to basic human necessity, food, clothing, shelter, medicine, anything else. But right now we have mobile phone, television, other things, iPad, iPhone, ever. Reduce man of wants to the minimum. Frugality and contentment are important characteristics. Oops, how to do so? What we have to do is to have self-control, to have the limits of one's own duty, to know what is the limitation of ourselves. Conduct oneself with wisdom and self-awareness in all activities. I wonder how many people can do it. Now, live in harmony with nature. When the lifestyle changes, man will adopt non-exploitative, non-aggressive, and live with gentle attitudes toward nature. Then able to overcome the ecology problem and the problem of alienation. Man can live in harmony with nature, utilizing his resources for the satisfaction of his own basic needs. And as if the bees collect pollen from the flowers, neither polluting its beauty or depleting its fragrance. How can we live such the way that the bees have been doing? I think the problem of science becomes a problem. What is any limitation for that? You know? For example, I know a professor at John University in Health Department. He said, I'm the first one who able to produce the baby test tube in Thailand. And then he taught his students. He said, we are not God, and so you better not cling to that kind of invention. But most people get a lot of money out of it, but he stopped doing it. And this, so you got to know the limit, where can we go, how far can we go. So, how can we change man's mind? Greed, delusion are basic roots of human suffering. Who will say that is not true? The Buddha discovered the three characteristics of reality through his insight meditation. The three characteristics are, first, the changeable of all things, anicca, suffering, the dukkha, and the no self. These three can only be realized through meditation. Why realizing makes the difference? When we say nothing is permanent, it means all is in flux. This kind of statement never said just for the moment, only present time, but it has been long said before, since Heraclitus. Even the scientists like Heisenberg also said the same thing on the principle of uncertainty that he discovered. Even the small particles never sit still. Even the table that they think is still, but it's not, it's shivering all the time. So nothing is still the same, nothing stays the same. So, when nothing can stay the same, how can we attach to things around us? Like our own possession, our loved ones, everything. The second one, the suffering. Well, when you get old, some people who will realize how suffering can be from all kind of aging, the gray hair, all kinds, you know. And if you don't take a good care of yourself, you can turn out to be in a very dangerous fall or whatever. So, understanding the suffering of the body and mind. No self, the transition of all things, detachment, and overcome burden of one identity. Well, anyway, a thinker who ever come to this kind of ideas is David Hume, the British empiricist. Then because Hume explained the concept of no self through his ideas of watching a movie from one step to another, a roll film. You cannot say the whole film is one page without the other falling out. Which part of your life is you really? It's just one after another. Who can you say yourself when you are 1 year old, 2 years old, or 60 years old? Which one is you? There's no such thing as a self. So Hume tried to explain in terms of no such thing as self-identity, because you're moving from one way to another at all times. See? So these three these three ideas of realization of the truth of reality itself can be understood by through understanding through wisdom. Man, through his own wisdom, able to overcome his action with greed and hatred. You know, it's so simple to say to people that don't become greedy, you got to love everybody. But how can you reach to that point without understanding the nature ideas, the three characteristics of reality? So this is the very important step for one to create such ideas. Even to speak with love and kindness. You know, the aspect of moderation in life and in speech. This is very important because in our action, through thinking, through your own action, and then through your own speech. So the three parts that you act in this world become so important. Buddhism commands that when you speak a speech, you got to speak at the right time, with the truth, with gentry, be useful, and out of loving and kindness. And if you do the opposite, it will be something else. So, man with nature, peaceful existence in one's life can exist through the understanding. When you have peace of mind, then you have atmosphere around you which leads you to have a healthy body and healthy mind. And then you are able to enjoy existence and become part of the whole and live fully once again. The word living fully in one's life reflects upon Aristotle talking about how to live a fully life, like a horse with fully speed, without any problem with one's own running nor the mind. It can go together very well. So, I would suggest two books for you to read. This is, if you're interested in, The Full Catastrophe Living and Using the Wisdom of Your Body and Mind to face stress and pain and illness. Another one is The Science of Meditation, Mindfulness and Enlightenment by James Kingston. Any question, please? No question. No question means you understood everything or not.
So easy. Life is so easy. Question, Faria? I get the mic to you.
Question. Thank you, madam, for a very interesting lecture. I think it suits the mind after the lunch, after listening this nice lecture. So, as you said, I fully agree with you that the nature, if we don't go back to the nature, and how we can go back to the nature. So, I liked one particular interesting thing in your whole lecture, that is how we can change our lifestyle. And now this is the real time to change our lifestyle. I can give my comment in a point of physician. Like, as I'm a physician, so now we are dealing with the non-communicable diseases, you know, the diabetes, stroke, cancer, and hypertension, and all other non-communicable diseases which are very much with us. And the first thing we always tell that we have to change our lifestyle. And what does that actually really mean, to change the lifestyle? And the part of that is going back to myself, going back to the nature, and those are the things we are telling to the people. So my question to you is that how you see the change of lifestyle in this very fast and technologically advanced world? Could you please give a comment on that?
Thank you very much. This is a very good question. You seem to summarize my whole afternoon to your question. To change the lifestyle, first you have to change your mind. How to think correctly, how to act courageously, towards what you believe. When we talk about sufficient economy, how do we deal with our own greatness? How do we know what is enough? So to change one's life is to know the limitation of oneself, the way you eat, the way you think, the way you speak. See, and more important than that is to do quietness. Quietness, at least 8 minutes in the morning or at night time. Sit still, introspect within oneself. For example, like mindful meditation, to know you're breathing in and out at all times. And that's somehow reflects upon one's mind how to reorganize it. Like focusing it. Turn your mind into something very powerful, like a laser. Laser is something that you put the focus in one pointedness. With laser, you can cut anything. But when your mind's at one pointedness, you can see things truly within yourself. I think it's an amazing thing. When you understand yourself more important than anything else. And then when you find a reason for one to live on, like Nietzsche or Socrates said that one who knows how a why to live is most important. He has a why to live. He can do anything for that. In other words, he can revalue his own life, revalue his own way of living. At the moment, I would suggest do your exercise, do your meditation first in the morning and at night by being mindful at all times. And we are all going to Kankachan, right? So we'll do some meditation there. Yes, please.
Nothing?
Professor, your presentation is so mindful and thoughtful. This really took us to another domain of our mental journey in this afternoon, and it has a lot of connectedness with the morning lecture that made by Professor Wasagna. So the nature and environment connectedness. I just want to bring one of the attention which is related to your lecture that. Okay, as a human, when you are more wisdom bounded, then you become more deeper into yourself. And you can really understand you better. And when you are more quiet, within your psychosomatic, like the body, mind relationship, and you can bring yourself in one dimension, psychosomatic dimension, in one straight way, then you can concentrate more, as you said about the laser power. So that power needs to dig out within oneself. And the more we are knowledge bounded or wisdom oriented, then we can really go digging out that power. And sometimes meditation helps to go into that. Even sometimes religious prayer also, because whenever we go to religious place, we found that the religious leaders did the same kind of thing like Buddha and because they wanted to concentrate themselves to come out, dig out the power. But coming to that kind of point, that means the whole issue is more kind of, wisdom domain is more important over here. My point is over here is that if we really want to be a good human, healthy, body, mind, and the peace lover within myself, and I really want to create peace within others, no conflict. So that kind of practice only in the hand of the wisdom-oriented people, no. So what to do? Can we just promote this kind of ethical, like the bioethics course we are doing here, but the ethical and moral driven, some kind of constructed viewpoint, some kind of constructed practice should be in the curriculum from the very beginning, early childhood development. So that it gets into your mind and it is inbuilt thing in the curriculum, then it has a lot more power into it. Then the more you grow, though you are more educated, then you really can dig out more power of the wisdom and peace. So this is one thing, and another is the whole world is so consumerism, commodity-driven world, and it is so much pushed by the greed and grievance. I can give one very practical insight of my life. Two of the examples. One is when I remember when I did my master's from London School of Economics. Before that, by the time I'm quite old, like I was 32 years old that time. So that means I have enough education, enough maturity. But I, being myself as a Muslim, I always try to regularly pray or even recite a little bit of Quran at least once in a month. So that is my kind of practice. And I try to make translation of Quran also because I'm an educated person, I can read it blindly. But believe me, when I did my master's from London School of Hygiene, Tropical Medicine and Nursery Economics, there was an Eid festival in England, and I felt like to go to the Regent Park mosque because there's a big mosque over there. So just in the morning I went there, and I just went for a prayer with the other people who were there from multi-country Muslim. So just by chance I picked up one of the Quran book which was translated by an Egyptian. Okay. But interestingly, when I was reading the lines, I used to read the lines even long before I had a practice of reading. But after my master's, when I was reading the line, I started getting the more deeper and very thoughtful meaning of the lines. I don't know. I was amazed, oh my goodness, so much into this Quran. That means the wisdom gives you more kind of, inner or the value-added understanding in yourself. So this is very important that the more we go with wisdom, the more we are within ourselves. Now the question is, if it is a community-driven world, consumerism is so high, people are so much greed-driven, do the people have any time to devote on themselves? Because they're so speedy, so fast.
Well, thank you for your thoughtful question and your good example to show that wisdom is so important in one's life. I think that starting from the very young age is very important for one to learn about loving one another. And the children at that age, they have no bias to another skin or any religion or anything wrong. But to overcome one's greediness in this commercialism, if one love introspect within oneself enough, one will realize that the more you want, the more suffering you can do. Right? If you want this and that, you get more suffering. So when you walk into the department store, your greediness starts rising. But when you walk into the natural world around us, in the forest, you have a different kind of feeling. You feel part of nature, you are overwhelmed by peacefulness. So it depends who is more wise than the others. If one never asks, I want to have more peace, and never ask, don't know the way, that's the problem. Because they always get involved with stocks market, wanting more and more, and they never realize that they become more suffering that way. So it's all back in the mind also, as you said. But how many people will be as wise as you are? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Any more questions? Well, thank you very much for...
More questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much for your attention and
So,
yes.
how does your philosophy deal with catastrophes?
So simple. One have to go deep into oneself and realize that we can control ourselves, but we cannot control others. Neither the natural world around us. We can improve it by helping one another, like the way we are doing right now. Someone like Daryl, or someone like those who are sitting around this room, who can help the world for the better, And I think this is the very important part that we all help at the limit that we have.
Tarana asked you a question.
Yes.
Tarana says, how can we control our mind? Meditation, namaz, or any other way?
Okay. We call it meditation, but in fact it is being mindful in what you are doing, observing yourself at all times. For example, you are sitting, eating, drinking, you know it. So in meditation terms, you have to do it slowly so that you can follow it as every part of it. If you're interested, come to Thailand and meditate. I can welcome to meet you there. Any more questions?
It will come, yeah. This time she was a bit short time in getting a visa, so she couldn't, but she was meant to be here. So she's here digitally. Can we meditate across the Skype?
Sure,
Together?
sure. You can meditate anywhere. For example, you're sitting here, you can do meditation, you're sitting there, you can do the same. Being mindful, just being mindful when you're listening to someone, but being mindful in this case means that you're observing yourself, for example, the rising and falling of the stomach, or the mind keep wandering anywhere else, you catch it right away.
Can we try it now?
Sure.
Okay, Abbas would like to ask a question. Okay? And then you can try. Abbas, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I have a question about meditation. Of course, maybe this is a philosophical question. In meditation, we are trying to find something in our inner world or in the external world. What is the purpose of meditation? In meditation, we are trying to find happiness in the mind, in our inner world, or no, in the external world. The difference between objective world and subjective world. Because in philosophy, there is a distinction between the subjective world and objective world. The happiness that you spoke about, I want to know that should be found in the subjective world, the inner world, or not the external world, the objective world. Thank you.
Well, when you talk about subjective and objective, then when you meditate, it becomes one. There's no division between you, yourself, and the world. You within yourself and the external world become one, realizing at one point. Something like when you walk into nature in the forest itself, you don't divide between yourself and the nature around you. And I answer your question. The object and the subject become one and the same.
Togetherness.
Yes, togetherness. Or they are part of everything. Am I answer your question?
Yes,
Oh.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
And you said that it is a kind of unity, the philosophy of unity of existence. It is based on the kind of unity of a human being with nature, with the world, with the whole of the universe.
Yeah. Well, in that case, it means that we are all part of everything. Remember the ideas of pantheism of Spinoza? That everything is part of us, and we are part of everything. Everything become part of us. We are part of the whole. We cannot make the distance between ourselves and the rest of the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so Ronnie, and then we're going to have some meditation after Aria. Okay, where is the microphone?
Yes.
Okay, ladies, with microphone is fine.
So I really love meditation lecture. After I went back to the Philippines after the lecture last February, I was doing it for quite some time because it's really helpful in relaxing and in thinking. Basically, we live in a world where people always worry all the time. So we always think of the future. Meditation tells us to think of what's happening right now. But we as humans, we always think of the future, right? We always think, what will I eat tomorrow? What will be my job tomorrow? What will be my education tomorrow? So we always get worried of the future. The world is moving fast. So everybody gets promoted, everybody gets good jobs, everybody gets rich. And when you think that you are left behind, you will move fast also. So you no longer have time to meditate, to pause, to stop, to relax for a bit. So meditation is really good because it teaches you to think of what is happening right now, which is actually important because it's the thing that happens right now. We don't know if you would still be alive tomorrow or the next day. Then you've wasted the last 24 hours of your life just because you worry too much of everything that goes too fast and you want to go as fast as the world goes. So I personally love the meditation lecture and I'm currently using it now. So I believe it's good because when you have so many jobs to do, you really just have to have that one moment to pause, to stop, to breathe, and to lower down that stress.
Okay, well, thank you for supporting. Now we will do 5 minutes meditation. Is that agree?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Just,
yes, please.
Want to add one more point. Like I think this is the right time to promote the mental health and spiritual health, because we all know the World Health Organization definition of health. We all always work with the physical part, but this is the right time to work with the spiritual part and the mental part of the health. Otherwise, we cannot promote the health.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Now, here we'll do 5 minutes meditation. This is an example before you go to Gangajan and we will do it together. And that will be walking meditation and sitting meditation. Then you will see the difference in one's life. Right now they have been saying that many people who meditate before they go to work, the whole day will be completely different than other days. Now, sit still, relax, your back straight, close your eyes, your arms, your hand within your palms like this. Okay, in the position of relaxing. Imagine yourself sitting in a chair. Relax the whole body, starting from your feet, your tummy, up to your head. After you feel relaxation, put your mind within your belly, the belly. Put your mind at the belly. And then you notice, or you can put your hand next to the belly, feeling the rising and falling of the stomach. When the belly start rising, say to yourself, rising such, in your own language even. And then when it falls, say, falling such. So, rising and falling of the belly become point of your focus. You notice the slowly of the rising and falling of the stomach. That can be easily noticed. But when your mind starts wandering to somewhere else, you call your mind back. Just like a monkey, always moving around, never stay the same. So they tie the monkey with a rope up with the pole. The pole is where your mind is at, the rising and falling. The string or that tie the monkey is like the consciousness. The consciousness can tell you when your mind starts wandering somewhere else. So you call it back. But without the string, your mind just wandering around the world and never return without the consciousness. So knowing such is important. Return your mind back to where it is. Put your hands together so it becomes a complete circle. The complete circle of the body, because it's helped the cycle of the blood and everything to become fully accomplished. Okay, we will meditate for 5 minutes and then we will see how we are doing. And then bring good thoughts to your own body, from the head down to the bottom. Let you be at peace and let you happiness. No danger, only success come into your life. In other words, bring all the good things towards your own mind. Let you have success, helping others. Bring the good thoughts to those around you. The third one. Let those around you have good health and good life. And then lastly, bring good thoughts and sympathy for those whom you don't like or they don't like you. In other words, bring the obstacle of you and those who are not part of your own, who are the obstacle. And then takes time to realize all these points when you read by yourself. And then slowly open your eyes. Any question? Okay, good. Thank you.
Any comments, questions?
Welcome, Professor Sorat. You can do so.